What you're not going to see is this. This is everything that's underneath that big black pile of garbage that you see out there. And one of the things that separates us from our American counterparts is what happens below this line. In South Saigon, it's very unique soil conditions. It's very soft. You have a lot of soft mud. Very unstable. If I put something over here, chances are I'm going to lift the ground up over there. So how do we get around that? And how do I dump 25 million tons of waste on this land? Well, it started basically down here. And that was, we put a piece of fabric across our soft mud after we cleared the land. And on top of that, we placed some sand. And that allowed us to drive on that. And then we took a large machine, much like a crane, a cross between a crane and a sewing machine. And it punched in these wood trains. These things here, these vertical wood trains, and put in 138,000 of those. All underneath you, underneath this landfill. And what that does is, when we do put weight on top of this land, we'll press down on this land, and the soft mud will give up its water, and it will come into this layer here where we're able to collect that water, able to extract it, pull that water out, and this 7 to 9 meters of mud will turn into 4 or 5 meters of hard, stable material. Fascinating. Above that line, it takes on the characteristic of a U.S. landfill. We have an area to collect wastewaters, waters from the refuse, protection layers, and then ultimately when we start capping off this landfill, we'll have protective barriers and vegetative layers. But back to this, back to what we don't see. It's, how do we know that this is working? The only way to know is to be underneath the landfill. Well, that's exactly what we have. We have a set of eyes and ears underneath the landfill. Before we placed our landfill above this, we installed what we call piezometers. And what they are nothing but devices that send data back to us. And the data that they send tell us exactly where this landfill is going. Where is the 7 to 9 meters? How much water pressure is in this zone? If there's high water pressure, we need to take more water out, and that allows the mud to get harder and harder and harder. Right now, after almost 4 years of filling, we've seen settlement in this area, in this zone, of almost 2 meters. So yes, the engineers are right. We put this in because we don't trust engineers. So this time they're right. And we're going to use this data for our expansion in Phước, because we are going to expand to other areas. And we're going to use the same type of technologies possibly in Long An and elsewhere. So it is unique. And we're happy to have done the efforts that we've put in, because they are proving correct. So let's take a ride.
From another race, an alien.
is you're on top of the first wastewater treatment process of its kind in Vietnam. And the section that you're on top of is actually a tank. Well, it's actually 3 tanks. And then behind you are 2 larger tanks. And this is what we call the biological process of treating wastewater. In this process, we go through a phase of what we call denitrification and nitrification of the wastewater. In that is where most of the ammonia and some COD and BOD is relieved from the wastewater. We talked earlier about what's different between what we do here and in America. You would not build this sort of facility in the US. The reason is the wastewaters that we are going to experience here are different. Much higher in ammonia, much higher in nitrogen. The reason for that is we take a tremendous amount of organics. Organics that are entrained in the waste produce that high nitrogen, produce that high ammonia content. So we require a multi-process treatment system. The first of which is this biological section, which you're on top of. The next section that we go to, after I point out some things out here, is the filtration end of that process. And that does what we call the polishing end and the final stages of that process. I get asked a question many, many times, you know, what are we doing to help the environment? That's a tough one. I mean, nobody's helping the environment. You know, we all leave a footprint of some sort. In other words, just the fact that I get up in the morning, I require breakfast, I drive to work, so I am a negative impact to planet Earth. And so what are we doing here? Okay, well, we're taking care of garbage, we're doing some composting, we're starting up on recycling, but one of our operations is to treat wastewater. Okay, so I treat that wastewater, all right, and then I reuse it on site for the reasons I mentioned earlier. When I do have water left over and I discharge that water, what am I doing in the environment? Well, in this case, I can actually say that I am improving the environment because the water that comes from these facilities are actually cleaner than the waters that are neighboring us. We are surrounded by water on, well, virtually 3 sides. And that canal water, let's just say it's been challenged over the previous years. So the water we bring into it, we make the fish very happy. Behind me, we have 2 ponds. You see 2 ponds. Those are permanent structures here. Those are permanent ponds where we're able to mix and commingle different wastewaters that we have here. We have some storm waters that have been contaminated. They go in certain ponds, depending on what we're doing at that moment. Waters that we take off the bottom of the sanitary landfill. If we have wastewaters from any of our facilities, they also go into those ponds. Those ponds allow us to, 1, store wastewater, and allow us to mix the wastewater and send it to the best treatment process at hand. I mentioned this is number 3. Behind the trees over here is a dual-stage reverse osmosis system. We can basically throw anything we want at that. Beyond that, where the blue and the green tanks are, is a chemical and sand filter filtration. Now that will treat what we call lesser contaminated wastewaters. So we're going to put all 3 of these to use throughout our life here. If you look very far in the distance off to the east past the landfill, that will be an expansion area. Our landfill now currently occupies 30 hectares of space. 30 hectares. Ultimately, it will grow to about 110 hectares. Okay. What we're doing is, as you can see right now, we have a tremendous amount of moving equipment here. We're in the process of constructing a new entrance to our landfill. The trucks, 3,000 tons a night, 270 trucks every night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. They enter our facility. We weigh them in. They go up to any one of a number of tipping areas. They tip their trash, and then they leave. We get the trucks in and out, and that is our obligation to the city, is to provide that waste safe haven. The city picks up the trash in all the, there's 24 districts in Ho Chi Minh City. Yeah. We take trash from about 13 of those. Not all of that, but we end up taking about half the city's trash. And About 13 of those districts deliver some or all of their trash on city trucks. And that's the Public Works Department.
So the city trucks have to require, because of the leaking wastewater, the smell and everything, you guys require them to do it, or the city will have to contact with a company to work with on that?
We've worked closely with the city on that. The city again has had is meeting the challenge, is starting to meet the challenge of renewing their fleet from different areas. Needless to say, there was in our beginning years, there were a lot more trucks that could have been contained their waste a little bit better. And yes, that's outside of our site. Okay, our responsibilities begin at the bridge that you came in on. And when these trucks were coming down a new road to a new facility down here in the very southern edges of Ho Chi Minh City, yes, it was quite startling to some of the neighborhoods, the local wards and communes, not only the truck traffic, but it's a garbage truck, and sometimes garbage trucks smell. Heck, they even smell in the United States. Nobody wants to follow them. I feel the city's improving on that. We've seen new trucks. We've seen upgrades of their fleet. We've seen better maintenance. Is there room for improvement? There's always room for improvement. But yeah, and they're getting better.
How many percentage of the trash from the city come in here?
I think about 50%. But, I don't know. I mean, we hear 6,000 tons is what the city, it needs to get rid of every day. We take 3,000 on average. It goes to other facilities. And, it's like the competition. I don't really concern myself with where the other trash goes. I concern myself with the trash that we get and what we're responsible for. That's where my focus is.
I understand the trash come from, the Ho Chi Minh City. Some they come over here and then you do, any kind of solution. And so you not pick up the trash, right?
No, we do not.
Yeah.
Not at this time.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
With 3,000 tons of trash coming here, that is how you are making money?
Yes.
Can you explain?
The city pays us. In order for the city to deliver a ton of trash to us, they give us a dollar value, okay? And then we deposit that trash. We put it into the sanitary landfill. If that trash if that waste, if that stream has the potential to be recycled, then we will do that. If that waste stream, that truck or that load has the ability to be composted, if it meets our criteria for being compostable, then we will do that as well. And that's up to us. Okay? That is on us. They pay us for each and every ton that comes in.
How about all the complaints about the truck smell? Is this resolved lately?
Again, what happens off this property, I can't really comment on. I come and go to this site a lot, as you can imagine. And yes, do I smell trucks? Of course, just as I would in Hong Kong or San Francisco. I would smell the same smell. In here, no. We go to special measures to control odors. We know we're very exposed. You look around, we're very flat. We have people all around us. And so we take special efforts to control odors that originate on our site. Those trucks come in, we take them to the tipping area. At the tipping area, we have what we call monsoon blowers, which are spraying any one of a number of deodorants, actually as we're tipping. That's where the garbage is most exposed. And then we run over it as quickly as possible. We keep our tipping face, the exposed area, in as small area as possible, and then we cover it at the end of the shift. So those are the management practices that we employ here. What happens off the site, we can comment and offer our opinion to the city, and that's about as best as we can do. After biological process, water then gets directed into this process room. And in this process room, we actually have two systems. There's a gray tube system over there, which is what we call ultrafiltration. And then this green tube system, which is nanofiltration. After it goes through these processes, then it can go to our water storage system. You notice it looks like we have a lot of room in this facility. This facility is actually designed to expand 2 times. In order to expand, we build a control room, our electrical rooms, and our process room that can accommodate 2 more expansions. So all we have to do is add more filter modules, more electrical equipment, and more tanks, and we can double our capacity, and then subsequently triple our capacity. The area that you're panning through now, right now it's set up for construction management services, but this is where the next year's landfill gas operations are going to be. We're going to start off with a gas blower system, an enclosed flare, and then the blue building that you're looking at houses our electrical site utilities. So if you notice, there are no overhead wires in this facility. Everything are underground. They're in trenches like the one I'm standing on. And the electrical facilities all go into that building. So it's in that building where ultimately we will tie in with our electrical generators and tie in and share electrical load with EVN, the local utility. That's planned for later in 2012. This is the back end, what we call the back end of a sort facility. This is one of 2 sort buildings on the site. This one here is designed for materials, when we're finished with them, to be picked up, transferred over the wall, and you'll see that from the other side of the building, and then put in trucks and taken away. You'll see how that differs from our main recycling facility, which is what we're going to go to next.